everyone, welcome back to the Suburban Homesteader. My name is Megan, and in this video we're setting up and planting out our pumpkin seeds. So there are some things that I don't mind growing via seedlings, and I can purchase them. I usually purchase mine from a small family owned business that grow organically, but there's definitely some things that I'll do when I plant or sow via direct seed. So that includes pumpkins, watermelons, zucchinis, even beans and snow peas usually do a lot better when you're sowed correct. So we're going to have a look at planting it. So this variety is the Waltham Butternut Pumpkin. It's my absolute favourite pumpkin. Previously I have grown other pumpkin varieties before, like the Queensland Blue and Jack Pumpkin, but I just love the butternut pumpkin. It has a really sweet nutty flavour, and if you're not familiar with the butternut pumpkin, it has like a pear shape, and it can go up to maybe 2-3 kilos depending on the size. And they have like an orangey, or like any pumpkin, an orangey skin, and then it has a smaller seed pocket. You know, it's usually only on one part of the pear shape. It's only the seed pocket's only in the one part. So you do get quite a lot of flesh out of it too. I'll put up a video, a snapshot of a pumpkin vine that I grew here a couple years ago, as to, you know, talking about how I'm going to grow at this time. So I'll put up the photo now. And in that photo you can see, I think I had a couple of varieties growing then, but I had it sprawled across the whole, took over nearly the whole backyard. So I took off a large, probably like what, 15, nearly 20 meters by 8 meters, and then it was growing up the trellises into the tree behind me. It was growing into the tuber and up my huge clistemon of bottle brush bushes, and it just got too wild. And you know, you don't mind letting it grow a little bit, but you also want to maintain it. So when something puts too much energy into growing and expanding, it doesn't put the energy that you want into the fruits that has already started to develop. So this time around, I think I did it last time as well, but I'm going to be tip pruning the ends, so it puts more energy into what's current, compared to just trying to keep growing. So that way, you know, just like when you sometimes thin out fruit trees, you know, you want to make sure that you get a good quality harvest rather than a huge quantity and not a great quality. So that's what I'll be doing this time around. So with the butternut pumpkins, I'm going to be trying to grow it on the trellis behind me. I can expand it and add more mesh systems if I need to. One, I want to try and maximize my vertical space as much as possible. Two, things like pumpkins can be susceptible to powdery mildew. So having it up and a bit more thinned out, hopefully, you know, have a bit more airflow around it and maybe less powdery mildew. So we're going to have a look at planting it. So I've already set up, I've just got these hooks. I just got these hooks that actually, I think they're supposed to be just for planters. I just got them from Bunnings. I got 4, I think they're maybe, 20 centimeters or so. And I just think they're perfect for the fence. So I've just put it over the fence, and then with the mesh, just hooking it on. Now it's not a permanent fixture, which is what I don't want right now, because I can move the trellises where I need them throughout the seasons. So this time around I'm going to be growing it along here in a big pot. Previously I put them in beds. You can grow them in pots as well. So I'm going to be putting it in this pot and then trying to train it. I'm unsure whether I'm going to place it here on the edge and have it growing this way, or whether to put it in the middle. And like what you sometimes do with grapes, you can kind of have it growing and have it going out both ways. And that way I can have, because I'm going to be putting about maybe 4 seeds in just to see what germinates. Obviously some seeds are going to germinate. Might even put more than 4. Because sometimes seeds just won't germinate. Should take about 2 weeks for germination, but sometimes they just don't germinate. Or if they germinate and they start growing, sometimes they just fail. So I'm going to have some backups just in case. And the beauty is, you know, because I am growing it on a trellis, you know, depending on where the more successful the seedlings are, I can maneuver the pot so I can then train it up that trellis, and I can thin out the ones that aren't looking so great. So I'm just going to do the pot, premium potting mix. I will be chucking in some blood and bone as well. Seeds, about 2 centimetre depth, and then just mulching it with a bit of sugarcane mulch, just to help with water retention and trying to keep the pot warm for germination. So it says, you know, approximately 3 to 4 months for harvest. And like I said, they don't get as big as some of the other big pumpkins. So, you know, butternuts, maybe about 2-ish kilos. But some of the other ones I've grown have been a couple more kilos on top of that. I chose this one because I love it, but 2, I think from a weight point of view, it won't be as bad going it up on a vertical system than letting it sprawl out and take over. I will have to maintain it from going over to the neighbour's fence, which it had done previously. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. It's all an experiment. Some things will fail, some things will succeed. The great thing about these kinds of things is, you know, you can save your own seed and then grow your own pumpkins year after year. And it's probably a better way of doing that because it can acclimatize to your environment and your temperate. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with buying some seeds as well. Seedlings, I should say. So we're going to get started. I'm going to put the potting mix in first, mix in some blood and bone, and then we'll go from there. This is a heavy bag. It's about 65 litres, so it's pretty heavy. I'm hoping this is up to So growing in pots, it can be an advantage as well. Like I said, you can chase the sun, you can put it in a spot that's sunny. It's not a fixed, not in a fixed place, so you can move it around. So even if you're in a small courtyard, if you want to try growing it on a balcony, you know, you can grow it in a pot, have it growing along your balustrade, perfect. If you want to have some trellis systems up against your wall or a fence, great. So look, it can't not be grown. It's going to be an experiment to actually see if it works for you. It's just scalable, you know. So, you know, in a 1,000, you know, if you've got a couple of acres or even 1,000 square meters, a couple of 100 square meters, obviously you have more room to play. But if you've got a smaller space, just grow. It's scalable. Just grow it on. Try and grow it on a smaller scale and see if it works for you. So I'm going to be putting these in now. Use my own little seed packet. If you ever want to know how to make your own seed packets, I've got a video on it. I'll try and put it in the description and link it in. You know, great if you just use scrap paper, kids can draw on it, draw your own pictures on it, you can gift it away. But this is how I tend to store my seed, whether it's bought seed and this is left over, or whether it's seed that I've saved directly or been gifted. So I'm going to put, it's a big pot, I want to see how it does. As a bit of a safety measure, I'm going to put probably sowing a bit more. So I'm just going to sow a couple of them and then see what germinates. About 2 centimetre depth. You know, I'm not worried about losing seed because when you grow pumpkins, you'll hopefully harvest some more. So I'm just going to see what grows. Alright, so that's all in. I'll give it a bit of a mulch, a water, and then also a mulch. I might actually mulch it first and then I'll water in later. Alright, so I use sugarcane mulch. And I tend to put a thin layer first. That way it's not too hindering for the seeds to germinate. And then once they've germinated, I'll definitely put a lot more. Now keep in mind it is a pot, so you will need to water a lot more frequently than you would an in-ground bed. So you just have to keep watering up. When it does start to grow and trellis, it does need bees with pollination to get the most out of it. Just like I like zucchinis, for example. You know, so I tend to hand pollinate. I do with my zucchinis. So you obviously grab a male flower and you'll hot pollinate it with a female, and that's what I tend to find the most successful. If you want to leave it to the bees, you just might not be as successful with how much you get, but see how you go for sure. Alright everyone, so there you have it. My pumpkin seeds are in the ground and ready to go. Definitely try growing pumpkins at your place. It's definitely worth it if you can. If you don't have the space, see if someone else can grow it for you, and then you could barter and give someone something else. It is definitely a fun thing, especially when you get to harvest it and cook it in the kitchen. I love having it in steamed, boiled, roasted. I also like making pumpkin scones, so I might actually do a video on that later on with my own pumpkins once it's grown. Definitely give it a try, depending on what system you want to do, whether you trellis or over the ground. Let me know what you grow and how you're growing it. Alright everyone, I thought I'd put in a little 2-week update, sneak peek. Look at that, there's life. So it's 2 weeks on from sowing. Thank you for watching everyone, I do appreciate it. There are some other videos that might be of interest in our YouTube channel, the Suburban Homesteader AUS. Like I said, I will link in the one about growing, making your own seed packets. If you have any comments about pumpkin growing, anything else, let me know. I'd love to hear it. Also head over to our Instagram page, the Suburban Homesteader AUS, for more daily updates and progress. I'll definitely keep you updated with the progress of these pumpkins. Thank you for watching and have a great day.